Hello, good evening, and welcome to GF Uncensored Hour. And again, thanks for joining me on the Keep Paranormal network and that as well. So tonight I've got a little bit of a surprise guest, really. Basically, this young man does a lot solo, basically, and keeps himself to himself. So I do have the pleasure of introducing tonight's guest as a very good friend of mine, Steve Daly. So I'd like to warm welcome you to this evening. Hello, Steve.
Hey, mate, all right?
How you doing, fella? Long time?
I'm good. How are you? Long time no see.
I know, yeah. To be honest with you, I really have missed you, because when we met up, I think it was 2016, wasn't it? And I think we had a good connection and we had a good bond, and we both work on the same wavelength with giving paranormal investigation through how it is on the night as well, and raw and down to the bone and as bare knuckle as you can with the basic instinct and the basic how can I say, the old school ways is what we enjoy.
Yeah, definitely, mate.
So obviously, to be honest with you, it was a pleasure when I met you, and you know, stuff I come across that weekend and places we went to just still stick with me today, and it's right up there in my top 5 that weekend.
Yeah, that was I've got some good memories.
It certainly was. So would you like to introduce yourself to our lovely guest that's joined, people that's tuning in? David, he's a member of the team. Good evening, Lee, Janice, all good followers that start joining us. There'll be people in the background. Feel free to have comments, and I'm sure the admin will put a link on if anyone wants to join in and ask questions. You're more than welcome. So
they'll never know what to say. Basically,
yeah, just tell us a little bit more about yourself, fella, and what got you into all this, and we'll start it from there. The questions will come in, and then we'll just, you know, the passion. I would safely say the passion stands out a mile with yourself. You know.
Steve, late 30s, based in Scotland, Ayrshire. I run a page called Paranormal and Urbex Ayrshire. I've been a part of kind of several teams, and really I've been kind of on my own for a wee while, and I've just recently joined up with a guy local to me to kind of get back into team life. So it's been a quiet few years. I've just been doing, kind of like you said, doing my own thing and just plodding along.
Do you find that's good as well? I find it's good in a way that people can drift in and out as well, and take that time out within the field. And do you feel revitalised when you're itching to go and get back out there? Do you feel revitalised with that?
Yeah, normally do. I've kind of taken several wee kind of 6 months to a year breaks. Sometimes you get overwhelmed by it all, and it's just life in general is just so busy. But I always feel a wee kick up the ass when you get back, and it pushes you. I still like pushing boundaries as well, so it's all good.
How would you describe things that you would like to push the boundaries when you're always up for testing and going that little bit of an extra mile in and around, nudging towards getting to the bottom of the evidence as well?
I wouldn't mind kind of going down trying the kind of demonologist route.
Right.
Kind of going that kind of route to see exactly what, because obviously, I mean, you know yourself, that kind of attachment thing that you helped me deal with previously, I've kind of actually quite, believe it or not, even though I had an attachment, quite enjoyed it. As weird as that sounds, it was quite fun.
And I know where people get attachments, and we go out paranormal investigating, and we go to these different locations and that. And I always try and say to people, it's about the balancing and cleansing in and around. You know when there's something itching away and it's not right. But I have had where people have had like succubuses and stuff like that, where the female that it was getting drawn to the energy was, as you say, you get quite used to this energy being around, and it can really affect you. And I try and explain to people, sometimes a very strong weighted energy or an attachment can affect a lot of people, like the what's the word, matter, the mental state of the phase that you go through to shake that period off as well. So it's not quite easy shaking a period off, but you've got to go through it and run through it to push yourself as well sometimes as well. Did you find there was a a period of time where it was like 2 or 3 months was very weighted around that attachment?
I would say closer to 12 months.
Yeah.
I mean, I think by the time I'd kind of spoke to you about it all when we were at Morecambe,
Yeah.
it was quite was it Morecambe and Jedburgh we kind of worked together on it?
Yeah.
It had been probably with me for about 12 months at that point, and wouldn't like to say it played havoc with my mental health. It really did. It really did play havoc with my mental health, and not just me, for what affected my home life as well. So it got to a point where I had to take the step away for like a year after it and just rebuild my confidence and my mindset back up.
Yeah, but I can safely say, just tuning back in tonight with you, basically having a quick chat as well, back studio, is just like I feel you've got your spring back in your step as well. So I feel part of the path and the life skills that you get with around the investigating, that you could guide and help somebody around that situation now as well, and support them as well. So we are there for each other as well, aren't we? And it's hard when somebody's going through that period, isn't it, to break that cycle around them? Yeah,
it's not even just with paranormal attachments, just a kind of negative thing altogether. Trying to help people, that's always a good thing, regardless whether it be paranormal, personal, mental health, which kind of brings me into why I went for my new job. I'm not going to say what it is kind of publicly, but it gives me the option to help people that could potentially need a wee bit of guidance in life. Yeah, I'm not naive. I'm not going to be able to help everybody, but I will be able to help some people, hopefully. So it's certainly a nudge in the right direction. And I always safely say it's nice to give back as well. And certainly in the field that you're into at the moment, it's certainly it's rewarding as well. And I always safely say, like, so if you have a tough week, it all brings Friday, basically. I know people do shifts and all that, but my philosophy is you have to dig in as well, Monday to Friday, and then you get your rewards as well, like you do in life generally as well. I do feel I've got somebody trying to step in here at the moment. Where you're looking at going to and getting out and about, where you're looking at investigating locally soon, or I've got a wee private kind of a wee private thing set up this weekend. Oh fuck! Here's Stuart. No, I don't hate English people. I just hate the media. That's all my Facebook comments coming back to bite me in the ass. No, I've got a wee private thing this weekend that I'm taking people out to see. So it's the Castle. It's been some Outlander filming locations, so I'm taking some people to that. And then the team I joined up was Robbie Crossing's team, and we're doing Stirling Jail, so I'm looking forward to that as well. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've been up to Stirling Castle many years ago, and that whole town just seemed to blow me away with the history. And I wanted to go over went over the bridge, and we went down where they were all like shepherded into around by the river and the stream and all that. And it wasn't the empathy that I could feel. I just felt like I needed to go on my knees. And when you go on certain land where there's been battles and all that as well, and even when I've been in and around it on investigations and shown me around these places in Scotland, do you sense that type of thing as well when you're going into certain locations and the land? You feel anything that's going on as well? Are you sensitive, open to being sensitive? No, I'm as sensitive as a brick. I'd like to have gifts, but I'm as sensitive as a brick and as blunt as you can get.
But as again, it's like where you was mentioning earlier on, you go out there with your SP7 box and you've got your EVP as well. Can you tell us anything that you've come across with? What would you say is in your top 5 or your top 10 with anything that you've come across with the EVP?
Probably Dundonald Castle. I've mentioned this on a few kind of live feeds as of late, but Dundonald Castle was affiliated to the Stuart family, which came after Robert the Bruce, basically his kind of time era, the Crown of Scotland passed to the Stuarts. So we asked what clan were you affiliated to, and it was clear as day we got Robert the Bruce through the spirit box. It is on my YouTube channel. That was probably the most single best piece of evidence I have ever caught, alongside Suzanne Duncan and Caitlin Young, Paul McDonald, and myself, and it was amazing.
I mean, certainly is amazing as well, and we'll talk a little bit about your YouTube in a bit. I'm just going to recap there. Kelly saying, what else does Steve find rewarding other than investigating at the weekend?
I'm a avid video gamer, PlayStation and Xbox. I also spend time with my son. Usually me and him are kind of attached to the hip at weekends, and we kind of just I've kind of get him to go exploring places. I mean, we were up Loudon Hill lately. We got into the Dean Castle, which I know you love that place. Just spending time with family and friends, and it's really quite a simple guy.
I mean, and I know also as well that when we met up as well, and we went to the famous Dean Castle, which again, it is in my top 5 of my all-time places that I've ever experienced and come across information, communication, and history as well. And I mean, we met up with the lovely Jimmy Devlin there as well. Have you bumped into Jimmy on your travels, or have you seen him at the match or anything?
No, that wasn't Dean, was it?
Yeah. I think.
No, it was Rick, Brian, you, and myself that was at.
Where did we meet up with Jimmy? I'm sure it was there because he had the statue outside in the hallway, didn't he, with Robert the Bruce and all that.
No, that wasn't. I don't think. No, that wasn't Jimmy Devlin. I don't think. I've not been to his events for about 6 years. I would say 5 years, maybe. I think the last one I went to was Jedburgh Jail.
Right. Okay. How did you find Jedburgh yourself when you went there?
Cold.
Cold. Well, I think I had 6 layers on the last time I went.
That was funny. That was a lot of us, wasn't it?
And also as well at Jedburgh Jail, I think we also I went to the Abbey, which I found very interesting as well. That blew me away. The Abbey.
That was a strange feeling as well. That. But
again, even in that town, and there's a lot of water there as well, isn't there?
Yeah.
Right. Just see. Any questions, folks? Just feel free, and we'll see what we. I'm all good. Just see where we go in.
That's one of my friends.
Yeah. It's your Lindsay's actually picking up on the sensitive side of things, is she?
Yeah. I don't actually know if she'll let me kind of talk too much about it, but Lindsay's got a serious illness, so I kind of believe that's made her more like empath type of that because she feels like other people's emotions, which I'm assuming that's empathetic, an empath. So I think she's actually. I've said to her 101 times that's maybe something that she could talk to you about because you know more about that side of kind of like the spiritual side than I do. I said I'm as sensitive as a brick.
Just saying that. Just saying that. Having a laugh as well. Oh yeah, this is a good question as well. Mentioning about the Culloden battlefield recently.
But I've never been.
Right, we'll have to put it on the list, won't we? Definitely.
I've been to Bannockburn and Loudon Hill, but I've never been to Culloden. But somewhere I would like to go actually. I have been planning a trip up the north of Scotland to hammer places. I always wanted to go to Island Donnan Castle, Dunnottar Castle. I've always wanted to go to the Isle of Skye. But there's loads of places up north. I mean, I'm Scottish and I've never been to Loch Ness.
Yeah,
that should be some sort of crime.
Yeah, the one that I always get drawn to is the Inverary, is it? Is that said right? The castle there. I think there was a fire about possibly 5 or 10 years ago where the owner all the villagers came to help him with the castle and the fire. and take obviously sentimental items out the castle as well. I'm always drawn to that castle. I actually emailed them and said that I keep picking up on former people that's been in there spiritually and owners, but they haven't responded back to me. So that gets a little bit frustrating sometimes as well. You know, when you've got some messages and communication and you're thinking, I just need to go and visit to tell you this. And then when you don't get the connection back, it's so frustrating as a medium. Like, it's like, again, if it's not meant to be, it's not meant to be. I'm all for that. But when you see a place and a location and you're looking at it, you go, I've got to go there. I've got to go there. I know there's someone waiting for me. Yeah.
There's a good question, David West, asking if I've investigated Edinburgh vaults.
Right. We are due there. We are due there soon. So interesting there as well. I'm not going to give too much away. When we was in Edinburgh, we'd done King's Mary's Close or Queen's Mary's Close. I always get it mixed up. We'd done another tunnel trip and stuff like that. And we actually stayed in a, what's the name of the word? Hostel. Stayed in a hostel right in the heart of Edinburgh. And it used to be when I woke up in the morning, and I might have had a couple of beers at the end of the night, but just to nod off, and wasn't hungover, but I woke up with the biggest paranormal hangover, and I hadn't even been working. So I was just settling in. I woke up the next morning and I went, what is it about this building? And it was an old courthouse and it was an old police station. And I'm going, oh, that's what it is. I just had bombarded in the night. So I was physically and mentally drained just by staying in this place. And that was the hotel, basically, or the place that we stayed. And I think in the heart of that street is where they had, there's a symbol on the street corner. I think it's where they used to slaughter all the animals and all that. And I think all the blood used to run down the street.
I know where you are, yeah. I know where you are. That's the bit, what's that called again? It's thought slipped my mind. I'll come back to that.
Yeah.
I know where you are.
And it's quite bizarre when you're walking down there, because it is the really old part of Edinburgh, and it's like the energy's there. It's just the layers as well just seem to come alive, don't they? You know, when you're walking down them types of energy lanes and streets and passages.
See, I like the Royal Mile. See where the lead up to the castle was, because see if you go outside St Giles Cathedral and you just sit and watch people, there is so many different religions, races, belief systems. Nobody's nasty to each other. It's all just a nice, peaceful. It's nice to sit and watch. There's no malice in anybody that walks up. Just sit and people watch. You'll see so many different cultures. It's amazing. It's all just soak it all in. But I mean, the question there about the vaults, I've investigated the two main sets of Edinburgh vaults is Nidri Street and Blair Street. Now, Blair Street, I did. It was an overnight kind of haunted. That was with Mercat Tours, and that was Jimmy Devlin. He was a paranormal investigator that held the events there. That was. Sometimes you would go and it was quite active. Other times you'd go, it was really quiet, as if it'd been done to death. I actually quite like Nidri Street vaults, even though they can be quiet. But if you get it on a good night, it's. I know Tracy Goff. She was there recently with the guy whose team I've joined. I've not really heard much about it. And then you've got the Mary King's Close. That's what it was. Sorry, yep, yeah. Mary King's Close. But I've a belief that the Mary King's Close that's there, that's not the real Mary King's Close. That's a tourist attraction. I think it's about 4 or 5 further up. That's the real one, and it's still buried. So I think that's just a kind of mock-up tourist kind of action, that one.
What was the in the Mary's King's Close or Mary's Queen's King's Close? I always get it mixed up. But there's wallpaper on the wall, isn't there? And it's got the arsenic in it.
Yeah.
Well, who brushed up against that? Who was ill for 2 weeks after the touch sticks, had a t-shirt on right across the arm. And I was like, whoa, it felt like about a day or two later, I was off my feet, you know, and I had sore throat and the old tonsillitis kicked in as well. But again, I do get a lot of that because of the tiredness wise, working spiritually as well. Do you suffer with any like paranormal hangovers yourself when you've been to locations?
Usually tiredness.
Tiredness.
Just the tiredness. But I don't sleep much. I mean, I average about 4 hours a night anyway, so I don't overall sleep much anyway. But it's usually, who would you love to investigate with if you could pick anyone? I'm going to be biased, but I'd like to investigate with Garry again. Gary's one of the best ones I've had the pleasure of working with. I mean, but you know, recently I joined up with Dead Ends, and I'm modding for the Dead Ends group, so I'd like to go and investigate with all those guys, probably. With CJ, me and CJ bounce off each other quite well, and we got a good laugh together, so I'd like to investigate with him. I'd like to investigate with Kelly, Liz, and Shell. I'd like just to like to investigate with you guys, because we all have a good laugh together, and it's...
And again, it's like we did bounce off each other, and even that as a medium receiving stuff. And I said to you, we both stopped in our tracks, and you went, "What's the matter?" We went to that place, and I said, "I feel like there's a duel, and two people have got like daggers at each other's throats." And the next day, you contacted me and said, "I've seen this before. I've heard of this before." And I was like, "Right." And you actually read it in the book, hadn't you? That type of chapter that had come across that two fellas were at a standoff for like hours. And me and you couldn't move. And I said, I can't remember the name of the place. And I said, "I feel like we're just here."
Eglinton Castle in Ayrshire, that was what that was. And it was as if the two soldiers were having the standoff. That was good that night.
And again, even walking up to it, I think there was quite a few kids there, wasn't there, at the start of the night, and then they cleared off later on, didn't they? But it soon settled down when we went there, didn't it? And it was just like wow moments. And I know you have a lot of daylight up there, don't you, this time of year?
This time of year, it doesn't get dark till 11 o'clock.
And I think when I finished doing an investigation about 2 o'clock in the morning, I think the sun was coming up about 3:30 in the morning as well, wasn't it?
It's just how far north it is. It's just the further north you get, obviously there's like less daylight, so it's usually pitch black about 11 o'clock to 3:30.
So I obviously Jess part of the team. She's looking forward to going the vaults as well. And I do know about one thing in the vaults. Again, I'm not going to say it because I don't want to put a persona on actually what I've come across, and I haven't even been there, but I do know about it. This isn't me at the minute coughing. This is something else standing in. Just going to ask that to stand back. Hello, Eddie. Hope you're right. Any more questions you've got, folks?
Oh, I'd also like to run back and say I'd like to investigate with Mandy again with Anubis as well. I would like to investigate with her again. I miss Mandy.
Yeah, that was fun as well, and we'll touch back on there as well with the Anubis, and we actually. Do you remember much of Morecambe, that investigation?
That was like I remember Caravano laugh. I remember the journey down. That was a good laugh because we were there earlier and we went to the Witherspoons, and I remember Brian telling us that no alcohol was to be consumed. And remember the group chat we had? We posted pictures on it, so we were like, "Shit, what do we do here?" So we decided to kick Brian out the group there, invite him back in, hopefully they didn't see it, but he did. So we're. But it's one side or too many during the afternoon. Morecambe was good.
Morecambe was certainly a vast theatre, like as well, isn't it? It's nice to see it being done up as well.
Has it been done? I've only ever been. That's the only investigation I've ever done in England was Morecambe. I've always been Scotland. Never. That's the only one I've done down south was Morecambe.
Yeah, well, on your adventures, you'll have to come down here, young man, and we'll get out and about. And you're more than welcome to stay down here as well, and we'll get out on our travels as well. So Phil, lovely cameraman, Greyfriars we went to as well. How did you ever get to Greyfriars as well? And I had quite a different experience when I first went to Greyfriars. Have you experienced the graveyard?
Yeah, I've been in the graveyard several times. I mean, it's an atmospheric place. I mean, you need to realise how many bodies are. When see the dirt for it being not the biggest of graveyards, it's been people have been buried on it. It's been built on top of several times. So there is millions of bodies in that cemetery.
Yeah, I was going to say like a figure I can't remember. I think it was either 60,000, could have been 600,000, but obviously in and around plagues and stuff like that. I mean, we've got St James's Cemetery in Liverpool. I think that dates back to the 1600s. I would have felt that period of Greyfriars is around that period as well.
Older than that.
Well, I had a little scenario of when I first went there. I introduced myself to the gatekeepers of the land, and I introduced the spirits in and around. So I was trying to work out if there's a positive or a weighted energy around as well. And when I went there, the gentleman said to me, last medium I brought here died 2 weeks later. I went, it's all right, I've just introduced myself to this weighted energy. I'm not here to challenge it, I'm here to work with it. So I always feel it's a nice way of greeting without being hit by the kitchen sink as well. So sometimes you've got to go into these places with the utmost respect, haven't you?
Oh, you should always respect the location you're in, definitely. Especially Edinburgh.
Yeah, oh yeah, most definitely. And what's your thoughts on the graveyard?
I like it, but I don't buy into the Mackenzie poltergeist.
Well, what I found there and what I could sense and see, you know, where you go in to the graveyard straight away and to the left is like a gate, isn't there? There's a gate that goes off to the side.
That's the Covenanters prison.
It's what, sorry?
The Covenanters prison.
Right. Well, as I looked there, I could see the sliding doors like that, spiritually, of energy flowing, and there was like an atmospheric sliding doors as if you could see through the dimension and a portal type of thing. And I felt that was very, very strong. And I feel that that's where the challenging energy was behind that.
Yep. There is a way. I think the only way you can get into that is the City of the Dead tours. The wee hut, as you see the minute you walk into the cemetery, the wee hut's usually to the right hand side. And I've got to say, they're one of the best tour guides I've came across. They were good.
Somebody's just asking me when we're going to the vaults. I've got it written down here. It's the 16th of October at the vaults.
Right.
So looking forward to that as well. So that answers your question there, Trish. Hello, Anne. If you click on the Facebook, we'll know who else we're talking to. If you've got a picture, that'd be great. What's your favourite piece of equipment?
Favourite piece of equipment's the only two I use these days is a PSB7 spirit box and a voice recorder. So both of them.
Do you have the loudspeaker on it? Do you plug it and amplify and speak? Yeah.
Yep.
I find at the minute I'm just keep dropping, breaking equipment, and I always find it's meant to be as well sometimes as well. Are you a good one for losing any equipment?
No, because it's only the two pieces I've got. It's always in my pocket. I know where it is.
Right, let's see where we're going here. Should come down to Pembrokeshire, Wales as well. Tracy's saying, I've been down by the Skerry quite a few times. I've done right down that neck of the woods and Margam Castle as well. Is there any places in the UK or that you'd like to go to?
The Skerry one I've always fancied doing. I was meant to be going there soon, but the event that I was meant to go to was kind of stopped and cancelled. So hopefully be able to get to there again. The Jamaica Inn as well, and Ancient Ram, obviously that's one. But one of the to me the best place I've always wanted to go is the Galleries of Justice.
Do you know what?
Expensive.
Do you know the Galleries of Justice? Excuse me. I can safely say when I went there, it was so active, it was so busy, and we was up in the galleries, and I was given information about spirit, and I could virtually hear the judges like hammer going down, the noise and all that, and people say, "I know, can't hear it." When you played the EVP back, you could hear it as clear as day. Brilliant. So when you're receiving stuff spiritually and you're hearing it, but other people can't hear it, and then when you go back on the EVP, you could hear it as clear as day, and it's like, and then obviously there's people there that are tuned in, but there's people there that don't get that side of it as well. So, but the galleries as well, the overlying and overlapping energies, it was just it was busy, active all night. You know what I mean? It's like constant spirits communicating with you and just tapping away at you, trying to get your attention as well. Do you sense as well anything? Do you feel the hot spots, the cold spots when you're on an investigation?
No.
We'll try and work with that as well, because that's basically the energy around your aura. Just ask them if it's a male or female. Just say, come to your right-hand side, come to the left-hand side of your male or right-hand side of your female. And you get used to working with that as well. And you can use that as part of development moving forwards as well. It's little tests on the, when you're feeling the atmosphere change and it's going a bit colder in the environment.
Yeah.
You can always ask, if you are a female, just stand to the left-hand side or whatever, vice versa. And you find all them little tricks as well will help you pinpoint the type of energy you're working with.
The only time I can ever remember feeling very, very cold was, in fact, you'll remember this place as well, Gilmerton Cove. Remember there?
I can't know, top of my head, recap.
Remember when you came up, we went to Roslin Castle? Roslin Chapel? Yeah. And then we went on a tour of the coves.
Yes. That's what it was. That was the underground one, wasn't it?
Yeah. The guy that was under was the blacksmith's house. Well, I actually investigated there. And I remember sitting and we were challenging a spirit that was believed to be 3 negative spirits that are like shadow figures that are protecting something. So me being me, that was in my young and stupid days, decided to have a wee challenge. And I remember feeling very, very cold. And that was the last I can really remember. Then I was in the street. So there was like a period of time. I would need to get in touch with the guy that was there with me. But you're probably talking about a 20-minute period where I've got no recollection of what the hell was going on. And then I remember being up on the street. And I remember I get this very, very bad feeling, as if it was my daughter. And I remember phoning my kids' mum and saying, "Look, can you see if Rebecca's okay? She's in her bed. Can you?" So she had to go and wake Rebecca up to make sure she was okay. I get this really bad feeling about my daughter, and it was weird. It was really, it was a strange set of circumstances that led to, and I don't know what it was, but I was as if I was there, and then once I left, like for a few weeks after that, I was getting kind of like images in my head and dreams, as if it was dreams when I was awake, of actually being in there during that period of time, which was missing. And it was strange. It's the strangest experience I've ever came across.
It's like a flashback of the time that you've lost, but they're giving it you in your dreams to recall it, to show you what you was going through possibly as well. And I've had quite a few experiences like that as well, where, again, I would say seeing is believing as well. David's saying, what's your best paranormal experience?
Probably that one I've just explained.
That one, yeah, that's fine.
Weird.
Again, you can always ask spirit and say, give me some more information on that time, and try and recall it as well. And I always say to people, your notepad is your best friend. So when you wake up in the morning, have your notepad there as well. And you have any times like that after investigating, it's little tips that tie in. It might not tie in for 8 months, 18 months, a year and a half, and then all of a sudden you might have a solid dream over the next few weeks, which I'm laughing. My guide's laughing at me now, and he's like, he gives you the full vision of the full chapter of what's gone on. You know what I mean? Yeah. Jamaica Inn, amazing place. We went down there with Anubis, and we was in the attic, I think, and we had the camera all set up, and we were challenging the spirit there that was challenging us face to face, nose to nose. And the camera actually just come off the tripod. The whole tripod just come off the lot. It was just amazing there as well. So I would recommend you get to the Jamaica Inn as well. A few friends have been there the last week or two visiting in the summer holidays, and they've told me what they sensed and picked up on as well. Good evening, everyone that's tuning in. Thanks for your time. What's this one now? He was wondering what our spirit's made of. I always safely say, if you want to answer that, I've got a good inclination how I would answer it. But what would you say that spirits? What would you say that they? How would you explain a spirit?
Build up of energy,
Yeah,
possibly from the past, or the energy of something that's to come.
And I always safely say if you think of 50, 60 billion people that's lived before us and a bar of aero, pockets of energies are all around us, regardless that you might think your house is nice and quiet, but you might have 20 spirits in and around the vicinity or the property as well. So you walk through these energy in and around every day. And especially I come across people that have attachments or pick up on a mood swing, that even if they've been to a shopping centre, it's because they're walking through all this energy as well. So in and around spirits that they're here, there and everywhere within the universe. Kelly saying, good advice, listen to your body. It's a great tool that won't fail you. Yeah. Let's see where we're going with the next
Kelly. Oh, a lot of time for Kelly. She's me and her became good close friends. So that's like I said, I've been modding for Dead Ends. They've invited me into the wee, I don't know if you saw it, but I've had a few outbursts on it, and it's they've invited me into to help them. So looking forward to the stuff that's to come with that as well. So, and I've met obviously CJ, who runs the paranormal team, CJ and Kieran at the Jamaica Inn. So I'm hoping to get to the Jamaica Inn at some point as well with him. So I've got places and plans I'd love to follow through, but it's just obviously with the COVID stuff, I've not been able to push as much as I would like.
But again, it's like there's always a time and a place, isn't there? You need your windows. I think like Jamaica Inn might have one invest a month. I think they do 12 a year. Yeah. Top of my head. Here we go. Jess is saying, I'm trying to remember.
Ardrossan Castle.
I'll let you give the pronunciation of that. Well done.
Ardrossan Castle. Ardrossan Castle is believed to be tied to William Wallace and his family, but I've never been to it. It's a kind of area of the country I tend to avoid.
Hello, Kaylee. Hope you're all right. I'm just thinking there as well with it's just how I've got a book, I think, on castles. I don't do a lot of research. And I think it was there was 701 in the UK. There must be so many up there in Scotland alone. Do you virtually know them all by heart?
No. I do know that if you were visiting one a week for years, it would take you quite a while, for the majority of your life, to see them all. So there is loads of castles, loads of ruins, and there's. I should know the figure, but my mind's went blank. So
no, it's fine. I'm not putting you on the spot, Steve. I remember
there is hundreds. There is hundreds of castles, and I mean, one of the best ones. One of the best ones I've been to is Lennox Castle, which is up near. I need to hold the badge up near the Celtic training ground. But it was an asylum. It was a place where it was a lot of mentally challenged patients. That is one of the most, and I'm going to use a pun here, that's one of the most insane places I have ever been. Even during the day, you get a strange vibe.
Yeah.
At night, it multiplies. We were there at night. There was 5 of us. There was myself, Wesley, Jordan, Caitlin, and Kat Keeney was there. And we were standing in the middle of the courtyard. This was the most insane thing I've ever heard, because you could actually hear somebody running in the courtyard that was all overgrown bushes and trees. You could actually hear somebody running and rustling through the bushes. It was side to side and running in circles watching us. And it wasn't just one person. It was a lot of people. And there was nobody else there, because I ran into the bushes to see if we could find out who it was, and there was nobody there. It was insanely creepy. But it's when you come up, I'll take you there and see what you can feel. But even during the day, me and Suzanne Duncan were up during the day, and even during the day, it is a creepy, creepy place.
I found out where I've gone to visit castles, on the approach and on the walkway, they would have spotters. So they would relay back to the castle or to the next person as well. You know, I always say the like catweasel folk, you know, they'd always be tucked away in the bushes, and they'd have the little paths behind your main run, you know, approach to a castle. So I always find as you're getting closer, there's always more going on as you're walking up to it. And I always find it's there, the little like relays and the little runners back with the information of, oh, there's 6 approaching from the west and all that as well. And I've been to certain castles of an evening, and I can virtually, in my mind's eye, can virtually see fires. So they use fires in the distance as well when people were approaching from distance as well. Have you got any good old stories about, you know, your Robert the Bruce and all that as well? And, you know, we've certainly covered, when I feel that the English bloodline to our Queen was changed on the path from Stirling to Edinburgh, down to York, down to Leeds and Northumberland way. I always pick up, I've had quite a few times the maid from Mary Queen of Scots, and I always feel that she's had a scroll in her hand, but she's never shown me what's written on it.
Right.
I do feel that that'll come through in time, but spiritually, I'm not meant to know at the moment.
The only stories I can say that I've came across with the Bruce has been the local. I mean, everybody's probably saw Outlaw King on Netflix. Robert the Bruce's first major battle against the Longshanks' army was Loudon Hill, which is about maybe 10 minutes from my house, 15 minutes drive. Now, closer to that, to me, there's a place called Loudon Kirk. Now, it's a great location. It's untapped. It's only probably local kind of paranormal teams that would visit. And in there, I believe there's a spirit of see what you were talking about, a spotter. I believe it could be linked to Robert the Bruce, and because again, I've had Robert the Bruce's name for it. It was whose clan or whose army were you a soldier of, and it was the Bruce that we got. We also got Loudon Hill and Loudon Kirk through it. So I believe that it could have been used as a camp for Robert the Bruce on the way to the hill, or that's been spotters. That's where his spotters have kind of stayed and kept an eye on the area, which kind of what you said. Because you've got Loudon Castle that's close by to there as well, and then you've got Loudon Hill. So I kind of believe that round about that area would have been. I mean, this is William Wallace, and I believe his father was born kind of in Kilmarnock, where I'm from. So you've got a lot of local history. Robert Burns, you've got a lot of local history up this way.
Also as well, Steve, with the history side of it as well, you pick up on more and get to know the I can dispel that. I can take the bones away from the history side of it, likes of where the sword is in Robert the Bruce's. I always forget where the sword is, and it's supposed to be like 2 swords into one at the moment. So, you know, people have said to me that's not the real one and stuff like that. So the locals, I always find, get to know a little bit more about the. It's made to look for the public, and like I always say, the Tower of London where you've got all the crown jewels. I'm like, sure. I'm sure they'd have all them on display. You know what I mean?
I'm laughing at Kelly's comments here.
I'll have a little look. I'll scroll down in a minute. So
don't pin that one at the screen because she's singing my praises. Don't.
Have you find something like it's nice to take away the overkill is how I always find. You know, where I always say it's like the Chinese whispers of history where it gets added onto as well. And it's nice to do the detective work and get a little bit more information. I get it myself via the spirit, but yourself as going through historians and working around people that's got the local history is always handy, isn't it?
Yeah, well, there's a local where I'm from. There's a local history group, so if you need any advice or that, you can always turn to them, and they'll point you in the right direction, which is quite good. You know, you take the Dean Castle for example. It's an amazing place. It's untapped. They don't allow any paranormal teams in. That time I get you in was a favour to me by the guy. I'm not naming him, but the guy we met with the beard. I get in there as a favour of him to get you guys in, and I mean you got to see that weapons collection. So you've got an example of that as well. Those swords were from
Ice Age,
800 to 1,000 years old. Scottish weapons. That we got to actually see, and kind of like, I mean that's a hidden collection. That was a gem that was found. So I mean, when you talk a local history, and you would never have known that unless.
I mean, the stuff we've seen which we can't relate to around that visit, the VIP visit, and I do, honest to God, it's in the top 2, top 3 for me ever. I was just speechless with what I seen that day, and I couldn't walk into that room, not because I didn't want to walk into the room, but I could feel the overlapping energy from that collection. Do you know what I mean? And it was just like, I knew it was going to be mind-blowing, and it certainly was.
Well, I've actually been in the castle with that guy that was there, and I did a PSB 7 session, and see on that floor, the top floor, which we were the VIP for. I do believe that I got the spirit of a female, because we asked, "Are you okay with us being here?" And we actually got the word "yes, welcome here," and it was like a sentence for the spirit box. Yes. Welcome here, and it was. I remember sitting, and I don't really get emotional much, but I remember actually having a tear in my eye at that point because I felt like it's even the fact being that it's in my hometown and it's like honestly 3 minutes from my house. It was an amazing experience, and it's because there's not many places. Though there isn't many places around about here that you can go and you can hire. But in my hometown, the closest you've got to go for years Edinburgh or somewhere, you got to go somewhere outside its ruins. And
oh yeah,
I mean, even Glasgow, places in Glasgow have stopped doing it.
Tracy's saying, where would you love to investigate outside the UK? Any top 2 or top 5? Or
I would like to go Lep Castle. I would like to go to Bran Castle. I'd like to visit Chernobyl. Poveglia Island, and I'd like to go to America, to Gettysburg, war battlefield.
I'm seeing, you know, when you was talking about before, where either the spotters with Robert the Bruce were based where you went up to. I got Andrews. I meant to say that to you when I was listening to you. Andrews, the surname of Andrews. So I'll let you have a look. When you was mentioning about the clan, I was getting Andrews. All right, so I'll give you that. I've written it down, but I forgot to give it you at the time as well.
I'll have a look into that.
Yeah, okay. Hiya, Sally. Good evening. Any more questions? Fire away, folks. You're more than welcome. Last night. Hello, Jackie. Good evening. Good day to you all as well. Yeah, I'll watch last night's show as well. I'll catch up with that. Oh, here's one.
Orchid Castle's nice. I've never been, but I've seen pictures of it, and it's a nice castle. That's in Loch Ness.
Right. Okay. The also as well that the picture I put up. Where was that castle that I put up when you put the post up for the picture? Do you remember where that castle was? Where he was investigating? The one I put up on the post. It's like half down on one side.
Oh yeah, that was Dunure Castle. That was where. In fact, I went. That was the first time I'd ever been to Dunure Castle. Was the other week there when I went down. It was a family trip, and That was amazing. That was Outlander was filmed there. Laughing at Kelly's comment there, keep her on her toes. Some of my now you're talking. Chillingham Castle. Now, when it comes to the UK, Chillingham Castle is my number one bucket list location to investigate, because I actually went there. We went on a family holiday to Haggerson Castle, and the long-suffering family were dragged to Chillingham Castle so I could see it. And even during the day, and I'm going to use, I don't know if you allow swearing on your show,
yeah,
but
it's uncensored. It's after 9 o'clock. Right. Feel free.
see this place? It was like going back into a fucking time warp. It felt like I was back during like 1600s. This car, it was fucking honestly insane. You were looking into these bedrooms and it's like, Jesus, this looks untouched. And I remember laughing with my daughter, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I had the spirit box out, and I had the EVP recorder out during the tour. And I was like, "If there's anybody here, can you pull Rebecca's hair?" And I remember, but she must have been about 14 at the time. She's like, "Stop with a prick, Dad." She just looked as if kind of like chalk white. Or if somebody's here, pull her hair, because this castle was. I mean, I don't know. Do you know anything about Chillingham history wise?
I've seen pictures of it, but it reminds me a little bit of Lyme Park, which we've got outside of Manchester. Excuse me. That's not me. I think there was a famous film there at Lyme Park, and I think they'd done the outside at Lyme Park on the filming, and then they filmed in Scotland for the rest of it. I can't remember where they filmed in Scotland, but it just reminds me, the stairs and the staircase, of like Chillingham Castle. You know, the way it's built up on the outside, like. So I don't know too much. I always like to go in blind and raw.
Chillingham Castle was, see, when you go back to your battles of independence, 1300s. Edward Longshanks had a high-ranking officer in his army called John Sage. Chillingham was his castle. His number one task was the torture of and the butchering of Scottish people. Now, if you ever go to Chillingham Castle, there's a long drive covered in trees that leads up to the castle. John Sage actually kidnapped Scottish people, Scottish soldiers, local, normal people, noble people from Scotland. He didn't murder them. He didn't kill them. He tortured them and hung them from the trees. So see the moaning and the screaming that you could hear, hung them from those trees, and it carried for miles. So it served as a warning for any Scottish person coming in the vicinity of that castle. That was their punishment. And also, see me being in there during the day, being somebody that's got a broad Scottish accent. Now, see the minute I don't, like you say, I don't feel anything. But from the minute I stepped inside that castle and was talking to the tour guide, see my arm, every single hair stood on end the full way around this castle. Awesome. I'd love to go into it with the lights out and see the actual kind of like behind the tour scenes. Because that castle is, it's got the potential to be the scariest place I've ever been, and I'd love to get there. The problem is it's like a 4-hour drive to get to it. And you've got to go away up to Edinburgh, you've got to go over the East Coast and then head back down the East Coast to get to it. It is a good bit away, but it is somewhere I will get to at some point. So
I might join you on that, even if it's a walk around, and we'll do a walk around or something, but we'll see what we can do.
It's the only location that has legit scared me in the daylight, because you're standing in it and you're like that.
But even you find as well, Steve, I mean, up there you have, I think you have Scottish heritage, don't you, up there? Member of the Scottish heritage and stuff like that.
Historic Scotland.
Historic Scotland. And we have the National Trust here, which, I can understand where they come from, but we can't get anywhere close to these locations. Is there any places that you know your heritage up there that you think, oh, I wish they'd let us in there?
Loads. Places.
It says it all, doesn't it? But
you're kind of you get kind of restricted by because the minute you go to like your National Scottish Tourist Trust, your Historic Scotland, that those kind of, they just set up. It's like, no, they don't entertain paranormal teams. I don't know why, because you're paying for access to it. It would bring some extra cash into like the renovations or the keeping the places the way they are. But I mean, your Dean Castle one, I mean, I'll probably get in trouble for mentioning this, but East Ayrshire Leisure Trust are a fucking nightmare. Now, I remember the woman, I'm not going to name her. Yes, you will never get access to this castle. I will make sure of that. See the night that guy let us in? The night after that as well. He just went and went, keys. And I went like that, said, do you remember me? I'm the guy that you said would never get in here. Bye. He took me away in. She was fucking raging, but it was funny because that to me, you're restricting history. I mean, I'm somebody that will respect the location. It's the same as Urbex. I do a wee bits of Urbex, exploring places and buildings, and I mean, the only thing you'll get me ever leaving in buildings like that is footprints. So you get into places, you should respect them and leave them as you find them. But I mean, a lot of places now are saying no to paranormal investigations because of the behaviour of past teams that's made a mockery of the place. So I've found it hard trying to hire locations, especially local to me, because of the behaviour of some other people.
But you instantly find that as a challenge then when somebody says you're not going to come into this location and you're not going to do this, that, and the other, investigating there as well. And even when we go around these national places and we're looking around and the heritage places, we are tempted to get equipment out or the odd sneaky picture here or sneaky picture there, aren't we, as well? And I don't get the don't take photographs. I know there's valuables in there, but it's like, share the history with us, give us the information, share it with us, give us more information.
Remember Rosalind Chapel when we were in it? The big sign, no pictures. What were we doing? Just like what the wee tour guide told us, if I don't see you doing it, he's not going to say anything. So he knew what they're going to take pictures, but he kind of gave us a go. He says, just don't let me see you do it. But that was
I don't remember that part. I tell you what, though, I do remember. I do really. But the Rosalind Castle, that walk up past the little cemetery, down the little alleyway, down the little path, and then we went round to Rosalind Castle. I've had some amazing interaction around there.
Rosalind Castle is good. I've had the pleasure of investigating that once. I'm not one of the guy's events, but he hired it out for a weekend, and it was the way that it's built is it's built into a hillside. So you've got like the main building, the castle at the palace, and then the underground is built into the hill. So it's a castle.
Because I think what I was picking up on there was people being thrown over the edge, because it is quite a drop, isn't it, on the other side?
Yeah.
It's like the valley. Lindsay saying, what advice would you give to somebody just starting out?
Just get a good team and get somebody that you can learn off of that will pass their knowledge on to you. I'm going to be a bit biased here. Lindsay is one of my best friends, so I've had her out. I've been kind of teaching her how to do bits of the paranormal, so I'm going to be a bit biased there. But what was that? Remember that day you asked at Portland Cross? Remember that day you asked at Portland Cross? I know what that is.
I'll have a little. Who's asking that one? I'll get down to it in a minute.
Lindsay. Lindsay. I'm trying to scroll back through the comments.
Yeah, I've got it.
Remember that day you asked the Portland Cross? I don't know what she means by that.
Give us a little bit more on that, Lindsay. The also as well, where you're based up in Scotland. I know it's vast up there.
Oh, right, I know what she's talking about. We went down to a castle, Porton Cross Castle, and I asked the guy. He says, "Do you want to come in and look at the castle?" I says, "I want to hire it at night." I says, "I'm a ghost hunter," and the guy just went like that. He just turned his head away as if then he didn't talk to me again. And it's like, oh well, fuck you.
Okay. That's what I was going to say. I know you're doing the urban. How are you finding the urban exploring now as well, tying in with the paranormal?
I try not to mix them. I try not to mix them. I think it could be disrespectful if I mix them. Depending on where it is. I mean, you've got like the Donald Castle. There's a house close to that that's called Auchen House, and they actually when the castle became too hard to repair, too hard to keep, they moved stones and took it and built a manor house close by. Now that's an urbex location I like going to take pictures, but it's also a location, see, because it's not actually got what items in it, or it's not been let, it's ruined. So I don't mind investigating in there as well. So that kind of, but see if there's a place that's like Glaisnock House in Cumnock. Now I know that place is haunted because I went there at primary school, the residential trip, and all the guys that stayed in this dorm, we used to see like a figure, a guy, in the corner of the room. Now that's somewhere I'd love to go and investigate, but I wouldn't go inside it because it's there is still like relics and artifacts in there, even though the building is ruined. Up high and some of there are still pieces, and so I wouldn't investigate in there. So I wouldn't kind of pass others. I would either urbex it or I would investigate it paranormally. I wouldn't mix both of them.
Again, have you come across and read any good books, or would you recommend any good books to read for people there that's tuning in tonight?
I'm not really somebody that reads books much, to be honest. I think that it was the last book I read was Ian Ainsley's book on, I can't even remember what it's called. It was, remember Caravan?
Yeah.
It was her partner wrote a book on Amazon. It was to do with his paranormal experiences, but I can't remember the name of it. That was the last book I actually read, and it was about 4 years ago.
And again, she's an amazing investigator, isn't she, Caroline? Amazing character as well.
I love Caravan. Ever since the day I met in the paranormal, me and her been like that. So it's
certainly holds her own, doesn't she? Bears no punches.
She's a bit. Me and her laugh and joke at each other, what the brother and sister we didn't know we ever had. It's just a constant wind up. I mean, I remember it was going to Morecambe, and it was that was the best road trip I've ever been on, because it was. We did the kind of carpool karaoke stuff, and then when we were by the England sign, we were going like that to it. And then when we come back into Scotland, we were cheering. That was a good day.
Jennifer is over in Canada way. I always forget Vancouver or whatever. I always forget the other side. It's a bit further out on the island. It said, have you ever been where the witches were burnt at the stake in Scotland? So give us a bit more insight on that as well, Jennifer. Do you know any history of the witches?
No, not really. The only witches I know in the UK were the Pendle witches. I mean, I could look into that. I think that actually. Oh, you know what? The only other story I know about witches in Scotland was I don't know if you saw it on my page a month ago. I did a history tour. It was a case I brought Robert Burns into the paranormal a wee bit, with telling the story of Tam O'Shanter. The Tam O'Shanter is Robert Burns' one of his most well-known pieces, and it was actually based on what they believe it to be a local legend, and it was to do with witchcraft in the area. I mean, that's the only area I know locally to me anyway. But I don't know any areas in Scotland, like, off the top of my head, that witches would have been burned at the stake. I can find out for you and let you know.
Certainly have a little look as well, because you like all them inquisitive things, they seem to stick. You log them, you clock them, you store them, and then you start scratching around and digging into all this type of history as well, don't you?
Yeah, I like reading about history.
It certainly got it up there. I know we're coming up to an hour and 5 minutes now. If where could people catch your YouTube page? Could you give us that again?
Yeah, I've got a Facebook page and a YouTube page. The YouTube page is a work in progress. Usually on Facebook Lives, it's Paranormal and Urbex Ayrshire. I'll send you a link if you want to kind of link it in.
Yeah, that's excellent. I'll put it onto the bottom of this as well. And I think everyone was just eager to get out and about again, aren't we? And get out investigating as well. And it does blow my mind the way even I had spirits in and around from an investigation a couple of weeks ago, and they're still carrying on and working out what that night was all about, and you're adding a little bit more to the story, and you're getting deeper into what's gone on in and around as well. And do you find yourself, when a certain situation comes up, say on your EVP, that you've got to look into it and try and dig deeper again and try and find a little bit more about that topic and subject or person as well?
I used to, but see, when I first started on my paranormal journey, it was like, that's all I could. Like, it was just paranormal 24/7. But I don't know. I've lost a lot of love for the paranormal field in the past few years, and this is maybe going to sound a bit bitchy considering some of the outbursts I've had lately. But right now, I think the paranormal drama surrounding it. I mean, every other day there's some sort of drama live or drama of stories or some. I've lost a lot of love for the paranormal now. I'm hoping that when all the restrictions are lifted and actually teams start getting out there, that everything goes back to normal and everybody starts working together more and starts getting that passion back. So, I mean, I worked a lot of love for the paranormal field for the longest time, and I can't even answer why. I go to a point where I get bored, and it's But I mean, I met when I come back to. I mean, I was off Facebook for a wee while, and then when I come back with a new page, I connected with loads of new people, like Trisha Walters. I've got Kelly and CJ at Dead Ends. I've met Robbie. You've got Tracy Goff. I'm going to be investigating the loads of people. Carla Walker from the Cambridge Ghost Hunters. I've met a lot of good, nice new people, and they're helping me rediscover a wee bit of passion in the paranormal. And I do believe there is a good bit of paranormal unity left. I'm just hoping that when restrictions lift, everybody's going to keep it going.
I mean, realistically, I would say to people out there, buy yourself a lottery ticket, folks. Let's get yourself a nice lottery win and tour Scotland, go to every castle in Scotland or everything that's got part of the history or the battlefields and everything. Like, you've got your stories, your coasts, even if you get round to the coast as well. What would your ideal road trip be in Scotland then? Would you just no money, betting no money and just doing what you needed to do? Would you virtually get through them all, do you think, all these castles and places?
Yeah. I would start off on the west coast and I would head north and I would visit so many places and then I would come back down and I would... I mean, you look at Dunatar Castle, it's built out on an island. I'd love to go there. Dunatar is that's amazing. I mean, Island Dawn, that's one of the most photographed castles in the world. Amazing.
I mean, even when I met up with you, I think it was 2016, possibly and I went from Ayrshire and I drove down to Stranraer and got the ferry over to Belfast Docks. Have you ever been over to Belfast?
I've been to Belfast twice. Aye.
I investigated the pump house, and that was very interesting. Where they built the Titanic and all that, and the basin. When I was in the basin, when I closed my eyes, I could virtually see everyone being busy at work, and it was just like the amount of people that were there, and little kids running back to the for the scrolls of the plans for the parts of the ship and stuff like that. I could see spirits just running around, little kids running around like little runners, basically, that, you know, go and get this, fetches and carriers, basically, as well. And I was surprised to see children actually in and around that area, that they were just like they were the fastest things on feet in them days. I would have thought, to go and get all these scrolls and all these drawings, you know, from the drawing shop as well. So you know,
Wicker's just popped in. Caravan's popped in.
Oh, here we go, my little friend.
You should bring her on.
I tell you what, her ears must have been burning, young man.
Yeah, I think it was. Like, there she's there.
Oh, we are. This is always a good one. Tricia, tell them how much you would love to investigate with me and what you call me. I'll me little wench. I call her so many names. It's just I can't wait to get out with our Trish as well. And we done a hotel in South Wales, and it wasn't far off Merthyr Tydfil, and we were investigating in one room, and I said, no, we've got to go into this other room. We had the whole top floor of the hotel, and we went into this other room. The next minute, this window just come crashing open, sent all the objects on the shelf flying on the floor. And that was a very eerie night as well. That was we're here, but we're not saying nothing. We're not doing nothing, but we're just letting you know you're here. So have you ever had any scenarios like that where it's like big interaction, an A-rated EVP or anything, and then it's gone dead quiet?
Gilmartin Cove. It was again back. There's caravans in. I'm not sure too caravan. Gilmartin Cove. You got a kind of as if it was like building up to something big, and then we got a warning like we are watching, and then it just went a wee escapade, and then it just went flat. It was as if it was building up to something really good, and it just went. Gilmartin Cove, somewhere that the spirits in there will see if you've been in and experienced something. Now, I've investigated Gilmartin Cove 5 times. They will remember you for the first time you were there.
I remember going around the table. It's like a stone table, isn't it, that you sit around?
Yeah, that's where I had the experience. I was sitting in there watching it, and then it's as if it was somebody took a picture as if there was shadows, and then that was chaos. And then I don't remember like 20 minutes of my life I'll never get back.
That's me, a wee Ayrshire pal.
Carol, Carol. Remember, she was the Donald Castle with us as well. One of it was with Ryan and Ali and Greg for the Scottish Paranormal. Killed her went at the Donald Castle, and I mean that's where I remember Carol had a bit of issues with the stairs, and we kind of helped her. She might say. She'll probably kill me for mentioning this, but I'm very proud of her because she did manage to get to the top floor and end up. So
yeah,
Carol's a good. She's like my class. She'll shout at me for this as well, but she's like a paranormal mother. See if I do something wrong, she's giving me a lecture. She will lecture me for some stuff.
Hey, someone's got to take us under our wings, haven't they, and look after us on these investigations. Us lads, you know, it's we're certainly looked after, aren't we?
Usually get rained back in.
And we certainly, when we're well looked after as well, we've met some amazing people as well, haven't we, on our journey?
Yeah, like I said, I've been in the paranormal for 8 years now, and I've met some amazing people, and I've met friends for life, like yourself, Caravan, even Garry. I'm looking forward to bumping into her again at some point in the paranormal. Mandy, Eddie. You know, I've met loads. I'm still gonna see. I'm actually one of these faces people don't want to kill.
It's like the forefront. It's like you're reliving history from a past life, and you just remind people of like you look like a soldier in all these places. I think, or the true Scotsman.
I just. In the paranormal, I've always managed to get on quite well with the majority of people that I've came across. So there is some people that I make a brilliantly obvious with, but I'd like to think the majority of my paranormal journey I've got on very well with people. So
I know we're coming up to the end of the show now and all that, and I really do appreciate you joining me for the hour and 15 minutes as well. Is there anyone that you'd like to go out investigating with that you've seen on TV? Who floats your boat in and around the paranormal world of what they're doing there with their experiences and what they're trying to do?
See, Jane Harris.
Yeah,
I quite like the way she works.
I've met Jane a few times. Lovely lady.
I quite like the way I like the way Jane works. I kind of caught her show a few times. My House is Haunted on Discovery Plus. I would like that. She seems like my kind of person I'd like to investigate with. And then I've got to say I've got it could be the man crush, but I like Aaron. It's the bald head and the beard. I like Aaron for Ghost Adventures. I'd love to go. He just seems out of the Ghost Adventures guys. He just seems like the most. You'd have a lot of fun, I think, with him. You think you'd get a lot of laughs.
He's always the person that gets picked on, isn't it? It's like I'd be picking on you, going right. You're going to do that test. You're going to do that experiment. You're going down
Caravan.
that.
She was my Aaron in the team. Because I remember just quickly. I remember once we were in a place in Glasgow called the Pearce Institute, and I tied her up to a chair and blindfolded her. I left her tied up for about an hour, alone in the dark. I don't know if she's still on. I don't know if she remembers that.
Yeah. Do you know when we've done some experiments? I can't remember the name of the place I was in at the moment. It was when I was in and around the past hunters and that, and we tied this location out, and I put an experiment. I obviously blindfolded the person, put them in the room, and something went off. So we all went investigating, and we were like, "Oh, we've left that person in there." It was like 20 minutes later, and we went back in and obviously took the blindfold off, and they went, "Oh my God, I can't believe the noises and everything that I've heard." And he said, "Who was outside?" I said, "We all weren't there. We forgot about you. We went elsewhere." She said, "I could hear so many noises." And we were like, right, okay, let's go and have a tea break, because we felt bad. But the amount of information you can get with the blindfold and heightening your sixth sense. Yep. Is there anything that you'd like to experience with development with yourself? Do you feel that you could push yourself in a certain area?
Again, I've always had a kind of strange liking for the negative spirits. I know it's kind of
careful what you wish for. That's all I always say.
Well, I've always liked the negative spirits until I got that kind of attachment with my wife. I've still got a wee kind of.
But as well with the experience,
I don't know if it's disrespectful, right? But she's sitting. If there's somebody there, you tell me. I prefer kind of like chaos and scares, and I mean, I like extreme ghost hunting. I've not done it for about 5 years, but when I used to love challenging, see negative spirits. I used to love. It was a head-to-head ones. I used to love. I remember going to a house where it was a place it was used for demonic rituals, demonic worships, and it was amazing. You know, it's like bring it, and it's probably. I mean, a lot of people, you get a lot of heat for it. You've been disrespectful by swearing a spirit, but I mean, you get humans and you people that are living. You get decent people that are negative people, and spirits are the same. Some spirits will react to like in a decent manner. The negative ones, see the minute you're a wee bit stronger with them, a wee bit more, they seem to like that as well, I've found, because you always get a wee bit, see when the minute you kind of go, right, well, if you want to scare somebody, I'm here, do it. If you want me to leave, do something to me. And I mean, I've asked to get punched, kicked, scat. I mean, I've done it all over the years, and it's I prefer the negative spirits. I prefer the nasty ones.
It is to the next 10 or 20 years. What I'm going to do is we'll end the show there. I'll thank everyone for tuning in tonight as well. It's certainly been a pleasure and an amazing recap as well of sharing this path that you've been on as well. I've really enjoyed it.
It was nice to catch up with you because it has been a while.
I mean, we're always interacting with comments and catching up and looking at what you're sharing and what I'm sharing and all that as well. And that's the great side of it as well. So I will say good night from myself and Steve. It's certainly been a pleasure, and we'll end the show there. Anything else you'd like to add on before we go?
Just that when I tied Caravan to a chair, she seemed to quite like it, strangely enough. She seems to have she seemed to get a bit giddy getting tied to a chair. I don't know why.
It certainly wants to pin down his Catalan anyway, as well. And again, it's great when you're around investigators. It's always great to have a mixture of that different type of what people bring to the table as well, and that's great. When you get the right balance, it's amazing, isn't it?
Cheeky bastards.
But we're right, Caroline. You know we are. We know we love you. We love you all out there, and it's great to share these stories and our times. I wouldn't change anything that I've done over the past, and I do miss north of the border, and hopefully I will get back up there as and when fitting well and stuff like that, and everything else is up and running.
Here anytime, mate.
Oh yeah.
Just know with Caroline, she's a bad influence. She feeds you alcohol and shots and.
I'm not a great spirit drinker, but a couple of beers, I'm all right. We love you too.
No, Caroline's a bad influence. She's a very bad influence.
What was the name of the book that Steve was relating to before? Did he say it was a partner that wrote it?
What was the name of Ian's? Remember Ian's book? He was talking about his past experiences and his journey into the early times of the paranormal. That was the last book I read.
Right.
I don't need. Yes, I do. I'm innocent. I'm a well-behaved Scottish boy.
Just stay in the studio, Steve. We'll have a little catch up before we go. I'm going to end it there, folks. We're coming up to an hour and 20 minutes now. So thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, there's an investigation Saturday the 28th of August, £40 tickets for Guy's Cliff on to keep inside the paranormal.co.uk. Have a little look. I think tickets are selling really fast. I think top of my head the other day there was only 7 tickets left for that as well. And that was amazing. Right, I'm going to end the show there, folks. Thanks for joining in, and don't forget you can catch up with this young man as well on his own page, and we'll put the links up as well after that. So stay with us, Steve. Thanks a lot, mate. Pleasure.
Pleasure's always pleasure. She doesn't remember the name of the book.